Are super intense choreographies the downfall of K-pop performances, or is it loud backtracks? What is it about K-pop performances that lead a lot of fans to be highly critical of them? On the other end, are we actually just too critical for nothing when simple mistakes happen on stage? Are we too quick to just tear these idols down when Western artists can do the same thing and nobody bats an eye? That is the topic of today's video because we are going into Reddit posts. Ooh, how scandalous, how K-pop shocking. But I digress. Welcome to another episode of Kpop Cancelled. My name is Angelina. We're here with the lovely littlest angels today. They are so cute. Meisha's literally staring at me. It is so endearing. Kevin keeps breaking into my room. You see, these are doors, actually. He knows how to sneak in and out. And then you just hear the clunk of the door. Like, it's very endearing. But like when it happens like 5 times, like in like 5 minutes. Okay, that's exaggerating. But anyways. Before I forget, I was actually inspired to do this because I saw a TikTok this morning and it was of Tate McRae. She was dancing. She was performing on stage. She was at a concert, her own concert, duh, obviously. And she kicked her shoe off and she was shocked. She looks at the shoe that flew away and she's like, oh my God. And she like kind of stops the performance to then take the other shoe off. And it's like it's so dramatic. And the one thing I could think of was if this had happened to Jennie. I don't even need to wonder if this had happened to Jennie because we have clear evidence of something similar happening to Jennie in the past. Like even Billboard News was talking about this, how Jennie's in-ear wasn't working or something. She was trying to fix her mic pack and she stops dancing. She stops dancing because in my opinion, and this is my opinion, babe, have you got a problem? If you got a problem, say it to my face, babe. This is just my opinion. So in my opinion, she stopped because she needed to fix the little knobs and it's like intricate and knobby. So, you know, that's why she stopped. And again, in my opinion, if you're at a concert, like who cares? I mean, Tate McRae literally lost her shoe, made dramatics about it. And I'm not saying this in a bad way. Like it's her concert. Her fans went there to see her. Obviously, they don't care. They're not like, oh my God, I can't believe she's like trying to have a fun moment with us. How dare she? That is disgusting, horrible. Like, how dare she lose her shoe and not continue on like the professional she is? I didn't actually read the comments, to be honest, but you get the gist, don't you? I don't think we're going to see her in the headlines for doing that. So that's actually what inspired this. I mean, you guys like Reddit posts? I love going on Reddit. I love going on Welcome to Plathville Uncensored, which this newest season is terribly pissing me off, but maybe that's a topic for another time. So I hope you enjoy. But actually, there's a lot of tangents to go on right now because, okay, for the first episode, you guys were really lovely. And I actually filmed the second episode yesterday, so I don't know what the response is going to be. I was a little worried. I told some friends, I feel like it's leaning a little socialist and I don't know. I don't know how my audience is going to take that, but I digress. You guys were awesome in the first episode. I have no complaints, but I have been uploading shorts based on the episode, right? And I wake up this morning to a bunch of comments. And first of all, I'm talking about Cat's Eye rebranding. And I say in the video, like, whether it's planned or not, there's been a change. And I don't think it's just a change conceptually, concept-wise. I think it's also a change in the way they're interacting with fans, the way that they're less K-pop, actually more K-pop shocking. And I wake up to so many comments that are like, isn't that just a concept change? Like, isn't this just different eras? I mean, do you guys think I'm that stupid? First of all, I'm not that stupid. I know that there are concept changes and era changes. That wasn't even the topic of conversation. And even if it was, why are some people being so snotty and catty? Forgive the pun. That was a terrible pun. Well, why are people being so like, well, not even so rude, just like a little rude. Okay. Is it illegal to converse about these things? Have you guys never had a conversation about anything in your lives? I swear to God. I'm like, I don't know why this is so inflammatory. And there were even like mainstream pop stans in the comments being like, cats are mainstream pop. You know, they're not K-pop. You K-pop stans. Whoa. First of all, you guys are all the same. You guys want to distance yourselves from K-pop fans. You guys are all the same. You guys are acting like K-pop stans. Like you've never had a conversation in your life. The point is, Cat's Eye, is a K-pop adjacent group, and I feel like they are separating themselves more and more from that. And in being a K-pop adjacent group, there are K-pop fan expectations that are, being shocked right now. The poor K-pop fans, what are they going to do with the booty cheeks out and the swearing? I'm obviously kidding and exaggerating, but you get what I mean, right? Like, the conversation is not, is this just a new era? The conversation is this a deliberate attempt to distance themselves from K-pop stans because maybe, just maybe, they K-popped a little too close to the sun? A theory, perhaps. And even, I mean, I get it. It's like a short, it's taken out of context. Like, in the full episode, I'm like, Touch was really popular. When they chose their name, they did mention that they could have a concept change with it, so on and so forth. Like, I get it's taken out of context, but also it's not illegal to just ask questions, to just theorize things. And you guys are allowed to engage in that content without being snotty about it. And actually, probably not you guys. It's probably random people. Like I said, you guys were really nice in the comments, but it really reminded me of why I stopped sharing my opinion. And I still get comments to this day like, you're literally so boring. I come here and you just tell me facts. Like, I want to know your opinion on it. Why don't you share your opinion anymore? I think this is like the perfect example because you can say something that is so tame. Like, you guys have to admit, even when I share my opinion, it is so tame. And nevertheless, you are going to receive vitriol. And I don't get it. And I have to say, this is okay. The internet is a wild place, but like, I will see other creators in other niches and they could literally do so much wrong and their audience will be like, I love you, but this wasn't it. And I could just be like, maybe Cat's Eye actually had a rebrand and people are like, babe, you're wrong. You K-pop, like, what? Like, it's just weird and condescending. And I don't know how we got here. Is it because it's like a slightly younger audience? I'm not too sure. I don't fully understand how we got here. I guess I'll give this example. Like, Abby Sharp, who's a registered dietitian. I used to actually watch her videos. She had a rebrand actually recently, but that's not what I'm talking about. She made a video where she was talking about how like a serial killer's diet could have impacted his life or something. And like, I shit you not, the comments were literally like, babe, I love you, but this isn't it. Maybe you need to rethink this. Like, I really do enjoy your content, but maybe this wasn't the way to express what you were trying to say. So I just find it so funny how like the dichotomy, if we're gonna bring out weird big words, the dichotomy between different content, because like in K-pop I could literally just say the word rebrand. First of all, what do you guys have against the word rebrand? It's not a bad word. If a group has a rebrand, it is in no way, shape, or form saying that the old brand was bad. It just means, in my opinion, that there's been a change. Like, this podcast has been rebranded. This is the old logo. This is the new logo. You catching my drift here? I was going to do an XG line, but I forgot what the line was. No, Tokyo. Are you catching my drift? Moving on from that was embarrassing, but that's just what I wanted to say as we introduce this video. I think it's really interesting, and I'm not actually complaining. I think it's fun to get it off my chest. I'm not actually complaining. Comments make the world go round. You're free to comment whatever you want if you want to. Oh my gosh, actually, while we're on it, I was scrolling through TikTok and all of a sudden I see my video. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Because sometimes I K-pop TikTok too close to the sun and then someone's like, look at what she said, and then everyone's hating on me. So I'm like, what did I do this time? But it was actually my KG video. And the caption on the video is so funny. Let me read it to you. Readers alerted me to people fat shaming YouTuber Angelina, so I thought I'd take the time to feature a long ass 40-minute video of her talking about the KG versus JYP situation. And then it's like, not like a critique necessarily, but like, people were fat shaming her. So here, let me feature her video. And I was like, girl, who? Who was saying this? Like, who are the people? Are there many people? Was it one person saying that there were many people? This is like the whole fat Stephanie Sue situation all over again. Because I don't know if you know the backstory to that. There was a comment that said, people are saying you're the fat Stephanie Sue. And it was literally just that one person, but they were making it seem like people were conversing about this. Like, this was a conversation going on somewhere. But it was just that one person over and over again. People are saying you're the fat Stephanie Sue. Word has it that you're the fat Stephanie Sue. And I'm like, who's people? Like, are we having this conversation alone here? I don't understand it. So, like, for here, I'm like, who's people? Me being like in denial. I'm like, I know people say things, but I'm like, I haven't heard that in a while, you know? So it was funny. I'm just pointing this out because I thought it was so funny. It's kind of like those TikToks where men are like, oh my God, period cramps every month? No. So it's like, fat phobia? No. I just thought it was so funny. But anyways, that's basically all I have to say. If you got a problem, say it to my face, babe. Has she got a problem, babe? I need to stop that, but it's so addictive. Nina, oh, morning. I'm outside tonight, guys. Okay, enough. But Nicole is an icon for sure. Shall we get into some of these Reddit threads? Whatever the hell, I don't know. I'm honestly on Reddit mostly, like I said, for Welcome to Plothville, but that's not applicable right now. But if you guys are watching it, I mean, if you comment about it, we can talk about it. Okay. Last thing I will address, actually, as much as I'm going to try to make this flow, I've just accepted that I need to cut the video. Like, I stop mid-sentence a lot, and I just can't. I'm not that type of person. I can't do it. I'm sorry. So I'll try to make it as flowy as it can be, but I've just accepted this is my life. So, okay. I thought this title was so interesting. Choreographies kill stage presence. Have I not been alluding to this for a really long time? I mean, before we even start reading this, I remember talking about this before. There are some choreographies where they do not even take into account that the idol has to do a high note. You know, Nayeon in I Can't Stop Me, you're hearing her heavenly vocals, but she's on the ground. She's fully on the floor. Like, how do you expect anybody to sing and dance that? Like, you can't. You literally can't. Ning Ning's high note in, what was the song? I can't forget. I can't remember. Oh my gosh. Was it Black Mamba? Ning Ning literally on the floor during a high note. What are these choreographers thinking in doing this? Because that should be illegal. That should absolutely be illegal. What are you doing? Mind you, there's usually a lot of backup tracks and a lot of lip syncing, so you can kind of get away with it. And fans will defend their faves to no end. So they'll be like, well, how do you expect them to sing and dance it at the same time? I mean, I don't know. Maybe the choreographer could have thought about that. Not me. I didn't get paid to think about that. I'm sorry. But let's read some of this. So, okay, and when it's like unpopular, because it's unpopular K-pop opinion, so people agree or disagree that it's unpopular, so they agree with it in the end, it's a little complicated. But I know it's truly an unpopular opinion because dancing is one of the two main elements in K-pop. But, well, let's hear your opinions. My take is also centered on girl groups since I follow them more than boy groups, but I'm sure boy groups suffer the same issues. First off, I know we're already not critiquing it, just commenting on it. Yes, the main two elements of K-pop are singing and dancing. If you think of K-pop, that is literally what historically has brought people to K-pop. The fact that they were singing and dancing at the same time. Now, I would argue in second gen, it was a lot more live. You had a lot more opportunity to make mistakes and stay on stages. And it's not that you were free from criticism, right? I mean, I remember, was it the group Chocolat? Ba, 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 da, ba, ding, hey, hey. I digress. They had a very live stage, and I believe they received a lot of backlash for it because you can hear the struggle. But that was the beauty of it. That was definitely the highlight of second gen K-pop, is that there were bad stages. And fast forward to now, the bad stages that we tend to see are people criticizing the horrible lip syncing. Like, some idols don't even try to make the correct facial expressions or even force their mouths to actually sing along to what they're pretending to sing to. And that's the major criticism now, which I think is a lot less fun. But at the end of the day, I also understand the shift because think about it. Would you rather get criticized for lip syncing and have all your fans back you up and be like, actually, they just literally sound like the CD. What are you talking about? They're just literally so good that they convinced you that they were lip syncing. That's just how amazing and talented they are. So you have, on one hand, that happening, or you actually have a bad stage and then your own fans turn against you. Can you imagine? So like, I understand the shift, but I obviously miss live vocals. I miss mistakes. I miss hearing that struggle. It was so beautiful. SS501, love ya. I remember a specific stage where like, they're out of breath. They're literally out of breath. Some might argue that back then the choreographies weren't as intense. I don't know. You go look at the choreography for Love Ya and tell me if that's not intense. I actually don't fully remember. I just remember them being out of breath. If we look at some 21 songs, I'm like, okay, I can see it. But if you're giving me powerful vocals, I'm willing to look past that. So continuing on, we often see comparisons between Western artist stage presence and K-pop idols being usually much worse than Western artists. To me, the core problem of that is dancing. Dancing prevents idols from letting go and hyping up crowds and kills charisma. Yes, 1,000%. I was watching IVE at Lollapalooza. If you want Twice to sing live, they will have to stop dancing as intensely for their parts. And some could argue that that breaks up the whole flow of the performance. And others will be like, hell no, that's actually amazing. I love to hear live vocals. But for K-pop stans who are so choreography obsessed, that's definitely an issue, right? Because Jennie just got, okay, I'm not actually comparing this. Let's calm down. But Jennie got a lot of hate for just stopping the performance to fix something. So if you stop the performance to sing, I know it's different. I know. But I can also picture backlash if idols made that a thing. If idols started stopping during a performance just to prioritize vocals. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like people would make a fuss about it and be like, but what about the choreography? Like, the choreography is supposed to flow. You're literally breaking up everything and putting so much attention on yourself just so you can sing. What is this? So it's either dancing as a whole or the actual movements involved, because I do recognize some Western artists like Beyonce have lots of choreographies in their show, but they actually look energetic and fit the sound. K-pop choreography looks tame and lacks charisma overall. K-pop choreographies feel like accessories to the song and often disconnected to the vibe of the song. That's going to tie into another title that I saw here later, and I have so much to freaking say about this, but as if the idols do the moves individually and don't feel them as one with the song. Idols need to restrain themselves to the moves and don't have the freedom to be as energetic as they could. For example, Ahyun got crucified for being too energetic and enjoying herself too much on stage, and dancing like the others must have felt like shackles. Look at BP, for example. Most of them look like they don't want to do the dancing part in their song. I've been jumping around interacting with fans, etc. would have avoided them lots of hate comments. Same for aespa. I was thinking about that for Blackpink because I feel like from the clips that I've seen from their concerts, they've changed a lot of their performance. Like, I will see for Playing with Fire, they're all like lined up one by one, and they're not necessarily doing the entire choreography. Like, they'll do some of the choreography, but it's mostly, I feel like their performances have changed with this tour. I even saw choreography change for, what's the song? Forever Young, literally Forever Young. Duh. Oh my gosh. For Forever Young. And I was wondering why, because it still has the same vibe as the original choreography, but it's a little bit different. So I was wondering, is it, I don't know. What's up with that? On a personal point, dancing has never been important to me in K-pop. Vocals are the most important. Few exceptions to me include Taemin's Move and Advice, Le Seraphim's Easy, or Cat's Eyes Gnarly. No, here's the disclaimer. Not K-pop, I know, and I don't care. Yes, as you should, etc. Where dancing is not just an accessory, but an entire part of the artistic part of the song. So we have some edits here. I don't know if we should read the comments first or the edits, but let's read the edits. No, I don't listen to the wrong groups. I knew this would be coming. I listed examples everyone here knows. I listen to more than 200 K-pop artists from the most known to the newest. Ooh. I don't even like BB because their songs are not my vibe. Edit too while responding. Don't just send videos. I am chronically online. I promise I've already watched them and they reinforce my view of it. Yes, Jiha has great SP dancing. I don't know what that stands for. But for one, these cameras are close shots, but from the other end of the stadium, that's not the same. And her best moments, most viral moments in concert are her singing her heart out and not dancing. And she has one of the best stage presence in K-pop. There we go. Counter arguing with the best isn't a great argument. Take the most average idol and my point stands. K-pop choreos diminish stage presence. I 10,000% agree because like I mentioned, K-pop choreographies don't even take into account singing. They don't take into account high notes that the idol has to do. So if you want to really give a good performance, and I think live vocals are part of stage presence, interestingly enough, maybe that's a hot take, then like you have to take yourself out of that strict, rigid choreography. And it's hard. And a lot of, unless you're like a YG group and you have like a specific part of the song where it's like, okay, now this part is the choreographed dancing around for funsies type thing, then like you're kind of screwed in that department. So I have to agree with this. If you cannot take yourself out of the choreography quite naturally to prioritize your stage presence, then it really is just from A to B, dance to this song and the vocals are secondary or don't even exist, to be honest. But let's read some comments about this. I don't think choreographed dancing is a problem. For one thing, if you watch professional dancers perform choreography live, the best of them do have great stage presence, even from far away. So it is definitely possible. I think their bigger problem and what you're kind of getting in this post is the attitude in K-pop that dancing has to be perfect. Oh, that's actually a really good point. And that perfect means exactly the same every time without emotion behind it. Perfect is just boring. Companies generally don't seem to encourage idols to interpret dances in creative ways, so sometimes that expression is lacking. Plus, most K-pop idols are dancing together with a group most of the time, and K-pop seems to really prioritize synchronization. If a group isn't well synchronized, they will usually get a lot of criticism for being messy, especially with larger groups. So I do think synchronization can make a great impression on stage and is a cool effect. However, being completely exactly together all the time does tend to stifle artistry and individual stage presence. I do somewhat disagree since I personally care more about dancing than singing, but I think this post, especially the part about Ahyun, does touch on a real issue. I remember talking to my toxic Blink friend Sherry. We did 2 episodes together actually, and she told me multiple times, like, straight up, I would rather a performance be perfect than experience live vocals. And I was like, girl, what? What are you talking about? But no, seriously, there are people who genuinely want a perfect performance. They come to these performances because they think these idols are gorgeous and talented dancers. So they want to see from start to finish perfection, and literally the vocals are secondary. I mean, we wouldn't have such a huge lip sync culture if that wasn't the case. If fans were so against lip syncing, idols wouldn't be doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like the backlash would be so big, companies would obviously stop doing that, but it's so accepted. And I think obviously there's a reason behind that. I think this is just personal preferences. My favorite artist is Beyonce. I love when she does choreographies and also when she just stands and sings. She has stage presence in both. I feel like there are a ton of K-pop groups that also have stage presence while doing both. BTS and Mamamoo are some examples. I also think not dancing doesn't mean someone's stage presence will just shoot up. Some artists look very boring while just singing too. Dance is important to me because I used to be a dancer and because I want to see artists look larger in life and do it all. I think you're just not someone who values that aspect of performance. So you can let me know if you agree or disagree with the post, because the whole agreeing if it's unpopular or not is a little much for me right now. But this does bring us to the next post. Not every song needs a choreography. When I read that, I swear, I was listening to Toxic till the end in the car. And I had this thought, if Rose was still in her YG area, of course, Blackpink in your area. If Rose was still in her YG area, I know she's under the Black label, but just thinking back to her solo under YG, if she had released Toxic till the end back then, there would be a choreography. 1,000% there would be a choreography. I have no doubt about it. I mean, Blackpink's Stay had a choreography at some points of it. Like like companies just can't stand idols just standing there and singing. Like there needs to be some pizzazz. So I'm excited to read this. As the title says, not every song needs a choreography. While this is likely not inherently an unpopular, I say this with having seen some of Twice's performances for their tour. On that note, have you guys seen ATEEZ? Stop it. No, I was going to give an ATEEZ example and then I thought of another ATEEZ example. ATEEZ example number 1, I'm seeing these fan cams of ATEEZ like just singing their hearts out to a sad song and Yuno's just like dancing like so in like such a fun way that doesn't fit the vibe and people are like, do you know the vibe of this song? Like they're just like, it's a fun moment. But then there's this clip of Wooyoung of ATEEZ, who is literally crying while singing Turbulence. And then he has to just stop and start dancing because for whatever reason, there's a choreography to Turbulence. I just have that stuck in my head now. But moving on. I don't know where we stopped with this, but there's a lot of songs they just don't do as a performance. I think groups need to be more comfortable with doing performances that don't always have dancing. Yes, I get that's part of their job, but there still needs to be the ability to say, no, we shouldn't have a dance performance for this. I've thought this about plenty of songs. I'll literally hear songs and say, I hope they aren't going to dance to this if it gets performed because it just won't be good. I personally think fans would be more satisfied with just singing the song than having a lackluster performance that doesn't make sense. Anyways, this might be unpopular because maybe people do love these performances. To me, it feels like 50-50 in B-sides, even title songs, they just don't know what to do with the choreography because there shouldn't be any. I don't know what to do with you. So, I agree if it's ballads, R&B, or band music. Honestly, it just depends. Sometimes if it's fun choreo, it makes me enjoy the song more. Look at me go hard, jelly jelly. And some choreos make you want to ignore they even exist. Like, what was the point of the say yes or marry and happy ones just stay on those chairs? K-pop has been too focused on choreography. Stage presence is more important. That was what the other person was saying. That aespa forever choreography stop. Forever has a choreography. Speaking of songs that shouldn't have choreographies, of course, I think Turbulence by ATEEZ, Stay by Blackpink, I guess Forever by aespa. Can you name any other in the comments? I'm really trying to think. Does Rain Sound by BAP have a choreography? Can you just imagine if JYJ's in Heaven had a choreography? Like they're just hitting their high notes and like as a trio doing random shit in the background. I could picture it actually. This brings us to consistency and performance quality should be an expectation and the companies need to focus on this more. So I've seen so many groups lately pop up in my social media for being uncoordinated, lazy, tired, off. Unfortunately, I feel like I know who this is about. During live performances, and a lot of people defend this saying maybe they had a bad day or maybe they were sick and totally understand that humans can't be at 100% all the time. But I'm talking about groups or individuals who consistently stand out in a drawing way rather than in an artistic way. This might be an unpopular opinion because there are so many people out there defending groups having major quality consistency problems. But in my opinion, consistently being low energy, consistently being unsynchronized isn't stage ready. You don't have to be high energy every time. You don't have to be perfect every time. But people pay to be there and watch a performance, and seeing someone dance like they don't want to be there really ruins the experience. Plus, if I have to watch a cover group to actually see what the choreo looks like when it's cohesive. To be fair though, when you look at K-pop choreographies done by the choreographers, like I feel like it always looks so different. Like there's a K-pop way of doing the dance and then like a professionally trained way of doing the dance. Does that make sense? I feel like it always looks so different. I feel like people brought this up a lot with aespa, like their version of doing certain dances versus what the choreographer originally looked like doing it. And it's not just aespa. I feel like this is quite applicable to a lot of groups. Cute people being like, not for my group, not for this group, not for that group. I feel like for a lot. I don't know though. Gosh. Individually, every member of the groups I've seen criticized have a decent amount of idol training before debut. Okay, another one. Another thing to stop and ponder, because we watched, I mean, I did. maybe you did. I'm like saying it like we watched it together, but I watched Pop Star Academy and they really like drove home the point that they aren't looking for perfection. They aren't looking for people to be perfect at everything. In fact, they're only looking at what can be coachable. And even at that, their goal isn't to endlessly train a skill until it's perfect. Like they really want someone who is moldable, coachable, and even after debut, you still might not be that great, but star quality is the most important. That's what Bang Si-hyuk said. So we talked about this before. If you're wondering why some idols aren't that great despite training for so long, you know, it's more than just singing and dancing. It's star quality. It's media training. It's being a model. There's more that goes into it, and I'm not saying that as an excuse or anything. I'm just trying to explain what I learned in that documentary. The thing is, the company is seeing the outcome in their practices and then saying, yeah, whatever, go on stage, and then the idols have to bear the brunt of criticism. And you can't tell there isn't someone in the room that sees the performance and isn't at least internally going yikes. But the fact that the quality of performances isn't often fixed before putting groups on stage just shows me that the company truly doesn't care. My guess is that they see any kind of engagement, even if it is demeaning and disrespectful to the idols, as just numbers and profits. And so they don't care to actually stop scandals or to prevent scandals because the label can get money from it. And the same companies do this repeatedly with their idols in some effed up kind of any publicity is good publicity way, leaving the idols to face the brunt of criticism. I'm not saying that there isn't at least partial responsibility from the idols to put on a good performance, but the companies need to do better at least making the performances look cohesive. This first comment, because I was going to mention this too. The thing is, I really do feel like if the beauty standards were a little bit different, maybe idols would have more energy to dance. And it's really counterintuitive. Not me saying that. JYP's stance specifically on this is very counterintuitive because JYP drills it into their idols that being thinner will make them better at dancing. If you are heavier, then you will be slower at dancing. And that is literally so counterintuitive. And I feel like I've read so many comments of people saying, but no, it's true. When you're heavier, you move slower. Have you seen professional dancers versus K-pop idols? And I really don't want to make this about critiquing or like, I really don't want to put so much emphasis on people's bodies. I do want to talk about the industry as a whole and how the beauty standards really do impact how much idols can eat, and how much you can eat obviously affects your energy levels. So I feel like it's an important point to bring up. It's not nothing. You know what I mean? So if the beauty standards were a little bit different, I really do feel like we would get more energy. And that's another can of worms, but that was the first comment that I saw here. So once idols are no longer being starved and overworked on low sleep regularly, I agree, but that is a prerequisite before I expect something of idols personally. I don't fault you or your expectations. More, given the conditions of the industry, if idols seem unenthusiastic or tired or on the brink of collapse, that is less surprising than the alternative. It is realistic that someone at some point is underperforming because their body, mental health is undernourished, sorry. I can definitely agree with that. The underlying issue for sure is behind the scenes abuse of the idols and the overworking. I can totally agree that it makes sense if their performance is not great when they are exhausted, and frankly, given the industry, I'm not sure if they will ever not be exhausted, which in and of itself is just awful. I'm also talking about groups where a member sticks out like a sore thumb when dancing. It's where I get the most annoyed because my first thought is always, no one saw this during practice and went, okay, let's do something differently, or okay, let's drill that one. Like even then, I don't exactly blame the idols. I'm just so confused as to how they were let onto the stage if that's what they looked like at practice. So again, watching Pop Star Academy, I think idols are constantly criticized. Don't get me wrong. Like in the documentary, literally, I feel like a lot of them kept saying, it feels like everything I do isn't good enough. It's never good enough. Adele was even talking about that as well, that no matter how much they do, no matter what they do, it's always criticized. It's never good enough for them. So I don't think it's for a lack of criticism necessarily, because I'll be honest, I did wonder that too. Like, well, if you're training for so long and, you know, people are down your throat for damn near everything, like, why does it continue to be the way it is? But also, if your company is expecting you to maintain the perfect beauty standard and then also wants you to be energetic for performances, I mean, I think there is a lot of proof that they prefer the first option. I mean, not to dunk on JYP, but also to dunk on JYP. I mean, Momo was literally on a live stream talking about how she was eating ice cubes and scared she was going to, you know, be away from this earth because she had to lose a certain amount of weight before debut. Like, we're not, I don't want to say immune to these stories. These stories aren't new to us. We obviously know that that's what the industry prefers. That's what these companies prefer. So when it comes to energetic performances, I think it's definitely a lot deeper than that. Who else? What other companies? We got all day. Have you got problem, babe? Okay. Me at the companies. Have you got problem? Next one. Loud backtracks are not the reason why K-pop groups are struggling to make it big in the West. I believe this is an unpopular opinion because I'm seeing a lot of people focusing this on Twitter with this user saying, after Coachella, I'm going to say what a lot of y'all are afraid to say. The reason why a lot of K-pop groups and solos will never make it in the West is because they aren't good performers and live singers by Western standards. I'll go into more detail. For a Western audience, a live performance means no loud backtracks. Me acting like I don't live and breathe K-pop. Girl, you don't know anything. It's true. Okay. If you're singing along to your backtrack, you're basically lip syncing in our eyes. We effing hate it. And this tweet had over 6.8 retweets. A lot of people seem to think that the reason why K-pop groups are not that popular in the West is because loud backtracks, but actually, artists like Tate, Justin Bieber, and SZA have loud backtracks. People seem to think that the reason why BTS is so big in the West is because they sing live. It is one of the reasons, but there's so much more than that. I remember going to my first Justin Bieber concert in 2013, and I realized that half of his show was playback and the other half live. And that's okay because he had an awful touring schedule, so of course he was not going to be able to sing all those songs, all those shows without a little help from the backtrack. But now I realize he connects really well with the audience. I remember he hyped the crowd and also had a DJ doing that. Despite not singing the entire show live, he did connect with the audience. I do realize groups are held up to a higher standard sometimes than solo artists when it comes to singing. It's not the same solo artist lip syncing a performance than a group because a group can back each other up and don't have to sing the entire song alone. Charlie XCX is arguably not a good singer, but she hypes the crowd. Everyone can feel her energy. So I believe the main reason K-pop groups are not making it in the West are not being able to connect with the audience. They perform for a camera, not for the public. Sometimes they focus too much on perfection to the point they look like machines. The West loves when things feel organic. K-pop lacks creative freedom. But most important thing to make it in the West is good music, or at least easy to listen to. I love NCT, but a track like Sticker is never going to be big in the West. Extra. I feel like some groups could be bigger in the West if they focus more on organic performances. Some groups just focus a lot on coming off as sexy or cool, and sometimes that causes people to cringe. So, number one, I feel like, just from what I've seen, Western singers tend to have a lot of auto-tune. No, I mean, live singing in general, you can have live auto-tune in your mics. And that's just a thing. And, I think the thing is, if you think of Twice on a music show versus Twice at Lollapalooza, those two performances are way different. Twice on a music show are literally... I need to cut that out. I've gotten in trouble with onces before. We're not doing it again. Twice on music shows need to do the choreography from point A all the way to point B. If there's a high note, good luck. You get on the floor, literally. But at Lollapalooza, like I mentioned, I'm seeing members stopping to dance to prioritize those live vocals. So I think this is quite... Is it quite standard for a lot of groups? You'll see them perform on music shows, and it's quite different when they perform in other venues. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know that this super applies Because I'm trying to think of other examples. They're just not coming to my spirit right now. Let's read some comments. I agree, but not for the reasons you listed. Let's address the elephant in the room. That is staring at us with big ears flapping in the wind. A lot of people in the West are not ready or interested in listening to, an Asian group, let alone one that sings in a language, quote, we can't even understand, which as a European myself, I find hilarious for other Europeans to say, because I can tell you so many people don't understand what Western English songs even mean or say. I wouldn't say it's necessarily because these people are racist, but it's certainly a form of xenophobia. It's just different and humans don't like different. I mean, that's definitely, okay. I've heard that a lot, actually. We don't even know what they're saying. Oh, girl, I was a Korea, though. I can make my way through a K-pop song, trust me. Joining K-pop is not like listening to a K-pop group because the barrier to entry is higher. Exposition to K-pop is harder than other music in the West, and especially comparatively to Western pop, and by that I mean American pop. It's simply not as played, shared, or recommended, etc. I think there is a bias for fans to get new songs or groups recommended on Spotify, YouTube, etc., but people who don't listen to K-pop already do not get K-pop recommended. I can tell it is the case with most adults around me. If it doesn't help, they are not chronically online. On top of that, K-pop is another world. It's not as simple as watching a Taylor Swift documentary on Netflix and being like, she cool. No, you watch any Korean content for the first time, you can misunderstand so many things. K-pop might be westernized musically, but everything else, from how K-pop groups are formed, the stages, the content, the freaking food they eat, the jokes they made, etc., you don't get it if you're not already in it, and you need to spend time to understand it. Just the lingo people use can be so confusing to people who are new to this, and a lot of the content is subbed, and that is a major issue for some people because in Europe, certain countries' languages are used to dub content and don't like subs. It raises the barrier even more when you have to read and you don't understand the cultural context of the content. I think fans would even agree that it's different, just because I was reading comments being like, you K-pop stans take a word and run it into the ground when I said Cat's Eye were rebranding. Like, I feel like there's a little bit of divisiveness here, but that's not the point of this conversation here. Okay, K-pop concerts are different. I mean, there are still concerts, but I took my sister to see a group. She doesn't listen to K-pop at all, and believe me, she was confused. This is like absolutely sending me, like, I feel like it's so normal to me, but like to see a light stick and be like, great heavens, a light stick? Fan chants? First of all, nobody's doing fan chants at concerts. Trust me. When I went to see 17, I learned the fan chants because they're fun, juicy, juicy. Nobody was freaking doing them. I'm just saying. But anyways, why do they pause the concert midway? Why do they stand in a line and randomly start talking? I thought it was a concert. Western acts interact with the crowd, make the chant, make noise, etc. But they don't randomly stop to start sharing how they feel and think they're fans. Plus, I would say that when you can tell they are reading a script, which I understand they do because they're talking in English and are uncomfortable with it or not fluent, it's not very natural. For people who don't know K-pop, it's weird. I'm sorry, that was just so funny to me. Like, K-pop concerts are weird and foreign. They have light sticks. But the real question is, how much does it matter? Is breaking into the West the be-all and end-all of K-pop? Shouldn't we consider that they have already broken into the West? Sure, in a way K-pop remains niche, but at the same time, more than ever, K-pop groups are touring worldwide successfully. They are charting, some are getting awards, etc. I doubt there would even be a K-pop supremacy in the West simply because the West will always favor its own artists and its own industry. There are outliers, BTS, but it's unlikely many groups would reach that level of Western GP recognition ever. As long as they have happy, healthy, thriving careers, who cares? Making the West a proof of success is kind of incredibly Western centrist too. Is the West the arbitrary best judge of what good music is and what the best music is? The answer is no. What does the West even mean? Just America? Because the top of the week in my home country and in the US isn't the same at all. So what does it even mean? So to answer that question, I think the whole West, I don't think the whole Western validation thing is a monetary one, right? That's what everybody's looking for. That's even you, we're all looking for money. Everybody wants to make it big. Even if you don't want to make it big, you need to pay your bills to survive. I can say that even on YouTube, K-pop content makes less money because, I'm paraphrasing here. Can I say this? K-pop content just makes less money because of the audiences. location. I'll have to make sure I can share that. I think it's quite common knowledge, actually. And I'm not saying this. This is just how it is. Like, K-pop audiences are less profitable. Western audiences are more profitable. Hence why people would want to try to make it in a Western context, question mark? That's all I have to offer to this conversation. If I make a video and get the same views as someone who makes a video that's not a K-pop video, put 2 and 2 together. But this has been an interesting conversation so far, so we might as well continue. I don't think there's any one specific main reason K-pop groups struggle to connect with audiences on those stages. I think there are enough little things that can stand out and rub people the wrong way that one person is going to bounce off of one of them and the other something else. I just actually had a conversation about this the other day with a friend who isn't into K-pop because they'd seen something about K-pop at Coachella and then they ended up down some YouTube rabbit hole and wound up watching the New Jeans performance at Lollapalooza. We'd previously talked about all the various performances related reasons people were put off by K-pop groups, but in her case, it wasn't even any of the music or dance related stuff. She was into it, but the thing that kept taking her out of it was the stage banter. She'd be vibing with it, and then it would be time for them to line up in a neat little row and say all their shit again, and she thought it felt either very fake or weirdly cultish to have them stand there and talk in terms of like, hey, let's all make memories we'll cherish forever, and things of the sort in tone and nature. To people who are used to K-pop, that sort of language and those sentiments are a dime a dozen. So it's not even a New Jeans thing by any stretch, but for somebody uninitiated in the Western concert setting, it was a thing. So this is news to me, actually, that the whole standing around and talking in that way is off-putting to a Western audience. I'm thinking back to Cat's Eye. Cat's Eye really didn't. No, Cat's Eye did. Cat's Eye literally were at Lollapalooza and like, this is a dream come true. I can't believe we're here. Thank you so much. So is it really a weird thing or is this just like 2 people on Reddit thing? You guys let me know about that. Now, everyone can have opinions on how good a reason that is to dismiss something. And it's not like she dismissed the whole thing like top to bottom based on that, but it was a good reminder for me that even the minutiae can break the spell and feel completely alien to people. She'd gone from thinking they were cool to wondering if they were brainwashed by a PR person, and that's definitely going to be a speed bump for some in connecting to an artist. And lastly, I came across this. There are idols who are praised for their vocals, but you feel like they're destroying their voices. This is in K-pop Thoughts. I think you guys know who I'm going to mention, but let's just read this. Lately, I've read about singers who, despite their excellent vocal technique, have suffered damage, whether with the appearance of polyps, nodules, or hemorrhages on their vocal cords. They've had to undergo long breaks and even surgery. In a way, I feel like a good vocal technique isn't generally prevalent in K-pop. And there are idols who, despite knowing they're good vocalists, in your opinion, destroy their vocals. Or are there those who have stated themselves that they have suffered damage? Someone wrote, Jihyo, I really felt this watching Lollapalooza. NCT's Haechan, I love his voice, but I think he tends to strain it too much on higher notes. And I think he even went through some kind of medical procedure some time ago because he had some trouble on his vocal cords. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So I worry about him a lot. He's constantly under a lot of pressure from being on 2 teams plus his upcoming solo. So yeah, I don't really think he has a lot of time to work on vocal technique or get proper rest. Another reason maybe why idols have to lip sync, right? Frankly, Jungkook from AT's interesting because I've heard a lot of people say he actually has a really great technique, but then again, I don't know. I grew up thinking Bohm had the most amazing, beautiful, technically perfect voice in the world. That deeply touched my soul. So I don't know. But anyways, not because he has bad technique. Well, there you go. But because how demanding his lines are. He doesn't seem to catch a break ever. I can't imagine it's healthy. I saw ATEEZ in concert and they were very impressive. One of the few groups I can guarantee actually sing live, but I could tell Jungkook's voice was exhausted. He was very obviously straining certain notes and his voice was breaking at certain points. Someone's responding literally, he doesn't have a good technique. Does he or doesn't he? I feel like it should be cut and dry, right? Someone either has a good technique or doesn't have a good technique. But then again, you see those videos where people are saying which notes an idol is hitting. And you know, it's like green, red, or yellow. And you'll watch the same video from somebody else and they'll have it like yellow. Another person will have it green. And you're like, somebody's lying to me. I don't know who. We need Lara, who has perfect pitch. I saw a TikTok this morning. Watched a lot of TikToks this morning because Kevin woke me up at 5 a.m. breaking into my room. So I learned she had perfect pitch, okay? So, but yeah, I remember loving Bohm. And I know Rose and Bohm are often compared with each other in the sense that people think they have regular voices and that YG forced them to have different voices after the fact that weren't quite as healthy. But yeah, I guess that's basically it for today's podcast episode. I think it's a little bit longer, though maybe with some editing it might be shorter than I anticipated, but just know I tried my darndest for you guys. I gave it my everything. I wasn't even planning on filming today, to be honest, but then like I had a pimple and I found my Hello Kitty, which, oh my god, is my skin like bending with? That's gonna bother me if I'm editing this after. I'm gonna be like, oh no, I had a pimple and I found these Hello Kitty star face pimple patches. And I was like, wait a minute, this is white. And if I put white bows, oh my god, what if I did like, oh my god, my priest look? I don't know why I end up looking like a goddamn priest every time, but it's kind of cute. And I was like, I kind of feel kind of cute today. So like, why not film something? I was just gonna film some shorts. And then I was like, oh, well, first of all, it's Friday. I always have like a Friday news video. There's no news. Wouldn't you be surprised that there's no news on a goddamn Friday? I'm like swearing so much. It's very blasphemous, isn't it? But I was like, maybe I should just go for it. Maybe I should just film the podcast episode. 'Cause I don't know. I felt a little cute. Okay. God forbid a girl feels a little cute. Okay. Have you got a problem, babe? If you got a problem, say it to my face. Because you're talking a lot of rubbish. Okay. That's it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with the friends you don't have. And as for me, I'm going to get going and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye. I would say bye to the puppies. Puppies. Puppy. Oh, we got, oh my gosh, she's stretching. Oh, so cute. He's stretching. Okay. Bye, guys.